Welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on Service Collaborator. This is our second workshop for Service Collaborator, so hopefully this is new for many of you joining today. We're going to be covering HelixGPT Hands-on Agent Workshop, and presenting today and also with a team of panelists is Eric Evlinger, our lead customer success specialist. Before I hand over to him, just a couple of reminders. We will be answering questions during this session, so if you do have any, please put them into the Q&A section of Zoom, which you'll find at the bottom, and the team will be answering those. And then roughly towards the end, we'll have around 15 minutes where we will take some of those questions live. I will also, when I hand over to Eric, be launching a poll, and that will be just a set of questions to ask around where you are in your journey. And then the second poll towards the end will just be seeing after this session what help you might need. So we would just ask if you could please fill that in, let us know, and then we can help you if you've got any further questions. So until that time, you will remain muted. But do put those questions in there and we will talk to you at the end. So Eric, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to you to do your introduction and get us started.
Thank you very much, Sam. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for joining this hands-on agent workshop for BMC Helix Service Collaborator. My name is Eric, and you may notice that I have a little bit of an accent when I speak, and this is because I'm from Sweden. Calling in from Stockholm, Sweden today, a rather cold Stockholm. Should add, winter is coming for sure here in the north, and I do believe we will see some snow over the weekend. I'm kind of guessing. I'm not a weatherman. I am, however, part of the Customer Success Adoption Advisory team here at BMC Helix, and I will be your host for today, guiding you through the configuration of the Service Collaborator for Helix ITSM. But enough about me. We have a lot of things to cover today, so let's just dive in and quickly review the agenda. I'm going to go off camera as well to save me some bandwidth here. Just give me a second. All right. Hope everyone can see my screen okay. So we're going to begin by looking at the structure of the workshop and talk a little bit about what you can expect from today's session. Then we'll proceed with an introduction of Service Collaborator and also talk about the steps of the hands-on workshop. Then we're going to click our way through the workshop, and at the end, we're going to wrap up with a short demo and spend the rest of our time in a Q&A session. So why are we here today? Well, the purpose of today's session is to configure HelixGPT Service Collaborator for Helix ITSM. Now, Service Collaborator is also available for business workflows, but for today's session, we will be focusing on the use cases for ITSM. We will be clicking our way through a couple of tools that you probably are familiar with. Tools like Innovation Studio. We're going to have a look at HelixGPT Agent Studio. We're going to use mid-tier, and we're of course also going to use Helix ITSM. So if you want to go ahead and launch these applications already, that's fine. We will be going back and forth quite a bit, so it's my recommendation is to keep them open in different tabs of your browser. Another recommendation is to keep Notepad or something similar handy as well. There will be some copy and pasting, so depending on how you like to work, Notepad might come in handy. Personally, I prefer to just keep my copy-paste things in memory. That's working just fine as well. So what if you get stuck? If you're following along, clicking along in this workshop and you get stuck? We of course hope that this doesn't happen to you, but if it does, don't worry. As Sam mentioned, we have a team of experts here today managing the Q&A channel. So if you get stuck or if you have any questions, let us know in the Q&A. We will respond to all your questions, maybe not in the Q&A, but we'll respond either in the session or afterwards. We are also happy to schedule one-to-one sessions with you if that's of interest for you afterwards. And again, like Sam said, just to be clear, you will not be able to ask me to go back or to repeat any steps. So if anything, please use the Q&A. Goals. When we are done for today, I hope that I can leave this session knowing that all of you are going back to your organizations with a fully functional Service Collaborator running for your Helix ITSM. Now, if that's not happening, then second best is that you leave this workshop today with all the knowledge you need to configure this on your own or with our help in a one-to-one session. Your success is very important to us, so please take the opportunity and reach out, and we'll set up a one-to-one session and help you if needed. Right? Even though you can't talk to me directly in this workshop, you can use the reactions in Zoom if you want to interact. So that's pretty fun. So I want to encourage you to use them as you see fit. Okay. Some prereqs, and these were also sent in the invite. So, but just to repeat, minimum version requirement for Service Collaborator is 23.3. I will be using a Helix environment on 25.3 for this workshop today. So if you want to follow along, if you have a 25.3, if possible, that would be my recommendation. We know that some pages have different name between the versions, so just be aware of that. You also need to have the PWA, the Progressive Web App, enabled in your environment. You need to have admin permissions for both Innovation Studio and HelixGPT. All of our HelixGPT agents operate under bring your own LLM model, large language model. Therefore, you will need to have a subscription for one of the following providers on the screen. And it's very important that you have the API endpoint URL and the API key if you want to configure your LLM today. All right. So with this out of the way, we should be able to go ahead with a quick introduction of Service Collaborator. So Service Collaborator is a HelixGPT-driven assistant within BMC Helix that's transforming how service teams work together and resolve issues faster. Instead of scrolling through endless lists of tickets or incidents, you can just simply ask questions and the Service Collaborator will present the right answers instantly. For service desk agents working on solving incidents, it's like pretty much like having a friend or a trusted advisor on the side that suggests responses, offers resolution steps, and even drafts solutions based on similar past cases. What this means is less time searching, less guesswork, and much more confidence in every reply. And when it comes to resolving incident, the system doesn't just assist us, it can actually do the work for us by generating complete resolution notes, helping support teams to close tickets even faster and with better accuracy. In short, Service Collaborator helps teams to work smarter, respond quicker, and deliver a better service, all while at the same time reducing manual effort and improving consistency. This is not just another tool we're presenting today. This is really a game changer for support teams. And if you are a service desk agent, as I said, I really think this is going to be your new best friend in Helix ITSM. Before we move on to the hands-on configuration, I want to highlight a couple of things that we will come across during the setup and some things that we should be aware of. The configuration of Service Collaborator that we will do today will be done in 3 steps. Step 1, we're going to start with models, data sources, and data ingestion. This is where we will configure our large language model, prepare our data sources, and ingest data into HelixGPT. Now, this is a very important step. This data is not then going to be leveraged by the large language model to provide us with all the answers we're going to need then in ITSM. We will be using the out-of-the-box data sources in this session today. More specifically, the data sources for Helix ITSM Knowledge Management, commonly known as RKM or Remedy Knowledge Management. This is the knowledge base. so the knowledge articles. We will also use data from Helix ITSM, and this is to provide HelixGPT with necessary contextual incident history. When we're done with this step, we're going to have a solid foundation for our HelixGPT, and it's time to start building our skills, which is step 2. Skills, agent, and tools. We're going to create 4 different skills for the purpose of running Service Collaborator in Helix ITSM. A skill is a defined capability or task that HelixGPT can perform. Think of it as a package unit of logic that knows how to handle a specific type of request or workflows. Skills are typically based on specific topics or tasks, such as IT skills for IT-related queries and services. A skill can have one or many prompts. Then it's a so-called prompt-based skill. A skill can also use an agent. Then it would be an agent-based skill. A prompt-based skill has at least one prompt with an explicit phrase or clear instruction for how to carry out the task. For example, how answers are returned and what sources to use to return those answers. An agent-based skill, on the other hand, does not have a prompt. It acts autonomously and uses one or multiple tools to carry out a certain task. The tools are passive. They don't make any decisions for us. It's the agent itself that decides what tool to use depending on the input from the user. This makes agent-based skills more structured, and it also allows them to handle multi-turn conversations. So in this workshop, we are going to create both prompt-based and agent-based skills. You may have noticed that HelixGPT Agent Studio already have a set of skills and agents. This is preloaded default configuration values for HelixGPT and what we refer to as seeded data or seeded record. Seeded records are intended only as templates and should not be used directly in your final configuration. Instead, create copies of the seeded records and use them for your configuration. And we're gonna practice this today, so you will have a good idea on how to do this in your own environment. So now we're done with the skills, agents, and tools, and we have our foundation with our LLM, our data is ingested, and we are ready for the third and final step, which is to prepare Helix ITSM to use HelixGPT. And when this is done, we will have an agentic chat experience, changing the standard global search in ITSM to a chat-based search. Instead of manually searching for incident, change request, or information from knowledge articles, this will instead let us to use a conversational way of retrieving information. Support agents will be able to leverage real-time conversational assistance during incident resolution and generating resolution summaries for the incidents by using the Ask HelixGPT tab on the incident screen in ITSM. We will also enable resolution generation to allow service desk agents to generate resolution notes for incident when they are resolved or closed. So with this, we are ready to get started with the hands-on workshop. And as I said, we're going to do this in 3 steps, and we're going to start by adding some data into HelixGPT. So quickly going to switch my screen here. Here we are, all good. So we're going to start this journey at the main gate, which is the Helix portal. From the Helix portal, we're going to navigate into Innovation Suite. As such, and from From Innovation Suite, it takes us to Innovation Studio. And from here, we're going to continue to navigate to HelixGPT Agent Studio. There are different ways to do this. I prefer to use this, the application launcher. Click that and click on HelixGPT Agent Studio. In Agent Studio, we're gonna go to Settings, which is this cogwheel. Click that. And we're gonna click our way all the way down to information sources. So HelixGPT connections, information sources. These are the information sources that we are gonna grab data from and ingest into HelixGPT. And if you happen to see more or less sources on your screen, doesn't really matter. As long as you can see Helix ITSM Knowledge Management Connection and Helix ITSM Connection, we're fine. Those are the two we're gonna use today. All right. So the first thing we need to do now is to click visible columns, and we need to check this box for IDs. These IDs are very important. We're gonna use them to map our data connection jobs. So we're gonna start with the Helix ITSM Knowledge Management Connection. Go ahead and grab the ID the easiest possible way. Now, we're going to navigate back to Innovation Studio, and we're going to go into the HelixGPT records. To do that, make sure you're on Workspace. You can be on Show All, or you can use Application, doesn't really matter. Scroll down to HelixGPT Agent Studio. We click that. And now we are in the records section. Make sure that the records tab is selected. Scroll down and until you find data connection job. Check that box. And then we're going to click on edit data. Again, you may see more, you may see less jobs on your screen here. I have, of course, practiced this a few times, so I do have a couple of them. If you don't have any jobs, doesn't really matter. We're going to create a new one either way. So the first thing we need to do is to click on New. In here, we need to fill out some information, such as description. Now, when we're naming things throughout this workshop, I recommend that you use some kind of prefix. That will make it much easier for you to find your jobs, your skills, your agents, and so forth. So I'm going to use WS for workshop, and then I'm going to name this to Helix ITSM Knowledge Management, right? The connection ID that we copy, or the ID we copied, is a connection ID, and we're going to use that now. Paste it in this field. We also need to have a data source. And since we're using Helix ITSM Knowledge Management, the data source needs to be named RKM. Exactly as I wrote it, capital letters, okay? If you name this to something else, this will not work. Has to be RKM. Now, if we go to the end here, you'll see execute now. This one we want to check. This means that this job will run when we save this. The job will start run immediately. That's what we want. We do not need to use any modified since, and we don't need to do anything with the sync deletion thing. So I already have this job running in my environment, so I'm just going to click cancel. If you're following along, if you do this for the first time, you click save, okay? But I don't want to have a data job running in the background while doing this workshop. So I have pre-prepared this already, so I'm just going to go ahead and click cancel, right? But if you click save, you will end up with something that looks similar to this, except another prefix, right? Now we want to go in and check status of this job to make sure that everything is running properly. So grab the ID, mark it, copy it, and then we can click close. Make sure that we are on the records tab, scroll down, find the data connection job step. Don't click it, check the box, and click edit data. In here, I have a lot of things going on in here. So I'm going to use the search. I'm going to paste my ID that we just copied, and I'm going to click search. This will bring up the jobs related to the data connection job that we just created, all right? And we're looking for something like this: status done, type load, etc. That's good. That's good news. If we see something that looks like this error, there's a column here we can use called error details. If you don't see it, you click on visible columns and you check that box. This will show you a bit more information on what's going wrong with the data job. So I recommend you to use this if you see any errors. Hopefully everything is fine, okay? So with this, we can go ahead and close this view. And now we're going to repeat the same steps for the ITSM connection, Helix ITSM. And remember, this is the incident data. Quite handy to have. So we're going to select that. We're going to go to the ID. We're going to grab it, copy it, and go back to Innovation Studio and the HelixGPT records. Same procedure. Scroll down to find data connection job. Check the box. Click on edit data. Click on new. And we can start to fill in information. Remember to use your prefix. I'm going to call that Helix ITSM. We have the connection ID. Data source. Now we're going to call the data source ITSM. Nothing else, exactly as I wrote it, capital letters. We're going to use execute now. We want this to run immediately, but now we're going to use modified since. And the reason for this being that you probably have more data in this repository than you have in your knowledge base. I don't know that, but that's just an assumption. So if you're doing this today, I don't want you to get stuck either. So click this and set some date. Let's go June 1st, right? Like this. And then you can click save. Again, I'm going to click cancel. I already have this. All right. So we're grabbing this ID now. We want to go in and check status. That's just a good practice to do it. Whenever we run these data jobs, it's just good practice to go in and also check status. So we're copying that, closing this one, back to the records, scroll down, data connection job step, check the box, edit data, and search. And here we are. This is how it looks for me. Might look different for you. But if you see something, then we're good. All right. So this concludes the data ingestion part of the workshop. We can close this now, and we're going to have a look at our large language models. So if we navigate back to HelixGPT Agent Studio, I hope you see something like this. If not, you click on the cogwheel, you expand HelixGPT, connections, and AI service providers. So you'll see a list of predefined options here, and you need to select the one that aligns with your chosen provider and then fill out required information. We're now using the card view. I think it's a little bit easier to flip this to instead use table view. You use whatever you are comfortable with, but for me, this is easier. At the bottom here, we can see that I already have my model set up, and we're going to use this as an example. So typically required data is name, version, API endpoint URL, and API key. And if you happen to use Azure OpenAI, similar configuration, GPT 4.1, you can go ahead and use this code here at the bottom. I do believe that Sam will copy this into the Q&A, so you can just go ahead and grab it. The last thing we need to do on the model side is to make sure that everything is working, and we do that by clicking on Test Connection. And fingers crossed for connection successful in green color. We got that. So this message indicates that our model is working, our large language model is working, and it also indicates that we are now done with step 1 of the workshop. So this was the hard part. It's going to be easier now. So let's move forward. Let's just save this or cancel. I can cancel, I already have it, doesn't really matter. So now we're going to have a look at skills, agents, and tools, and we're going to create a couple of skills. So to begin this, go ahead and click on the Skills tab here on the top. Transition you back to this view, and under the application dropdown, we're going to click that, and we're going to click on BMC Helix IT Service Management. We are working with ITSM today, so this is where we want to be, right? Notice that we have some grayed out options here at the top for the skills. And if you remember, this indicates that these are seeded. We cannot change them. We should not use them, right? But they're very handy to have to understand how we have built the skills, agents, tools, etc. So we're going to select this one, the first one, agent in global context. We'll select that one just to have a look at what kind of information it has. So has a provider, has a model, has an agent. So this tells me that this is an agent-based skill. And if we click on agent here, we can see that there's a long list of agents, and this particular skill happened to be connected to this agent, the ITSM agent. That's good to know. We're going to keep that in mind. Click on search settings, doesn't really matter, but we can see here we have the same kind of information sources that we were playing around with before. This is using Helix ITSM Knowledge Management and BMC Helix ITSM Knowledge Management Veronica. That's new. We also have channels, we also have configure. Doesn't need to bother with them right now, but this is the interesting part, and this is where we need to start. We need to create an agent. So let's click on the agent tab here at the top. So we can see this long list of agents again. Scroll down to the ITSM agent. Select it, and let's have a quick look. So this agent does not have a provider and does not have a model, and that's fine. That tells me that this agent inherits this information from the skill, because if you remember, the skill had both provider and model, right? So that's fine. This agent uses a couple of tools, 4 of them. So we're going to need to use the same tools in our agent that we're going to create. If we click on instructions, we see that this agent also have some instructions. Good to know. If you click on sub-agents, no sub-agents in use for this agent. So that's fine. Let's go back to instructions, and let's grab all of this from top to bottom. copy it, and on the left side now, scroll up in the list and click on Add Agent. This is where we're going to input the information for our new agent. And we're going to begin with the instructions, right? Name, we use our prefix. ITSM agent. Type, ITSM agent. Tools, remember there were 4 of them. MFS tool, knowledge tool, ITSM tool, foundation. Looks good. No sub-agent, no provider, no model. I think we're done. Let's save and see what happens. Awesome, green. It worked. Let's quickly double check. Do we have an agent in here? Yes, here at the bottom. There's some annoying. Okay, select that, make sure we have our instructions, and now you can see that the instructions are, how should I put it, not grayed out. And we can, if we want, make changes to it, right? We have the tools, and we don't have a provider, we don't have a model. Looks good, all right? Now we can go back to skills. Use the drop-down, Helix IT Service Management. Now we're gonna create this agent in global context. So let's select that once again, and let's grab this name. Let's copy that name, okay? And then we click on Add Skill. Naming, we use our prefix, and then we just paste in the name. Simple. Type, regular. Provider, we're using Azure OpenAI. Model, we have a model already that we created that's called WSGPT 4.1, right? User context process definition. We don't do anything here. But instruction type, we're gonna select agent. And then we can click add. Right? So if you have done this now, you should be able to see your new skill here at the, well, mine is in the bottom. Yours can be somewhere else, but you should see your skill. If we now select it, we'll see the provider, we'll see the model, we don't see an agent, but we have an agent. Mine is at the bottom, so I'm gonna select that. And I'm gonna go back up in the list, and I'm gonna say apply. Right? So this connects our newly created skill with our newly created agent. Let's have a quick look at the search settings as well, just to make sure. Oh, good. We have BMC Helix ITS and Knowledge Management Veronica. Perfect. We also need to check this one. The other ones doesn't really matter. We have only data for Helix ITSM and ITSM Knowledge Management, so it doesn't matter if the others are checked or not. And we click apply. All right, we're done with our first skill. 3 more to go. So let's just move on here. The second one, Incident Agent Assist Conversation. Let's select that one. Again, I'm using the seeded record here as templates. This one has provider, we had a model, and now it says prompts instead of agents. So this must be a prompt-based skill. So let's click on the prompt. And we can see that this skill actually has 4 prompts. So we're gonna need to copy them all. If we expand this one and just have a quick look, if we click on view here, we'll see that, yeah, this is grayed out. So we can't really do anything here, right? Click close, and I will show you how we copy prompts. First, we're gonna create our skill. So let's grab the name. click on Add Skill, use our prefix, type as is, provider, Azure, model, yes, please. User context process definition, we don't do anything here. Instruction type, now we're going to select prompts. Okay. Let's click it, and then we click Add. Right? We're not going to do anything with this just yet. We're going to go back to Incident Agent Assist Conversation, the seeded record. We're going to select that and go back to our prompts here because we want to have them, right? So, first of all, have a quick look on the side here. It says start a prompt, yes. So every prompt-based skill need to have one starter prompt. If you use several prompts, one need to be a starter prompt. If you use one prompt, that need to be a starter prompt. Okay. So we expand this ITSM router prompt to begin with, and we have an option here that says copy. We're going to use that. Going to click it. For the name here, we have the chance to rename this prompt now. So we're going to say WS, use your prefix, and scroll down in the list. Now we need to decide what target we have for this skill, for this prompt, sorry. And this is our newly created skill, right? So this is what we want to use. We're just going to check that, and we're going to say copy. Then let's see that again. Oh, prompt. Let's do this then. VSE, workshop Eric, copy. Done. All right. Now we want to just make sure that this worked. So if we go back to the list of skills and we find our newly created skill, we select it, and we'll see that we have the prompt here. Now if we expand it, we can see it says edit. And we're going to click on edit right away because we want to make sure that this is a starter prompt. So if we check this box, we say you are a starter prompt. And here, of course, you have all the information, and now you can edit this if you want to. Go ahead and click save. Okay, looks good. Let's go back to our seeded skill, Incident Agent Assist Conversation, and repeat, right? Greeting prompt, copy, do some name, find our skill, and copy. Looks good. We don't need to do anything else. Go back to the seeded record. Go to the third prompt, expand, copy, do the name, scroll down, find our skill, say copy. I'm not going to do the last one right away. Expand, copy, set our prefix, select the skill, and copy. All right. Now let's have a look. Brilliant, right? Easy. Let's have a quick look at the search settings here. Before we leave this skill, make sure that Helix ITSM is selected, click apply. We don't need to bother with channels or configure. All right, we're done. On to the next, Incident Agent Assist Resolution. Select it. Have a look at the details. It's also a prompt-based skill. Only one prompt, that's good. And it has some search settings. So go ahead and grab the name. As such, click on Add Skill. Do the prefix, provider, model, and instruction type prompt. Click Add. Then we go back to the seeded record, Incident Agent Assist Resolution. Select it. Find our prompt, expand it, and say copy. We use our prefix. We find our skill, Incident Agent Assist Resolution. Select, copy. All right. Let's have a look. Provider, model, have my prompt. Just gonna make sure that this is a starter prompt. So go to Edit, check the box, click Save. Have a quick look at the search settings. Make sure that Helix ITSM is selected, click Apply. And we're done. So even though you only have one prompt, it needs to be a starter prompt. All right, make a note of that. Okay, last skill, incident resolution generation. Select it. Looks pretty much the same. We have the provider, we have the model, we have one prompt, and we have some search settings. Well, actually, we don't have any search settings, but anyway, this is a seeded record, so it doesn't matter. We're gonna grab the name, and we're gonna click on Add Skill. We're gonna use our prefix, do the copy thing. Not gonna do any type, but we're gonna do provider. Gonna do the model. Not gonna do any user context process definition, but we're gonna say that this is a prompt-based instruction type, and we click Add. Looks good. Popped up here at the bottom. Go back to our seeded record for resolution generation. Find the prompt. Expand, and we're gonna say copy. We do the name thing. Just scroll down. Find incident resolution generation. That's the one we want. Select, copy. All right. Select that one. Make sure that we have everything. Prompt. It's not a starter prompt. Let's fix that. Go to Edit, open up the prompt, or expand the prompt, go to Edit, and select. Click Save. Let's make sure that we have the search settings here. Helix ITSM, and we click Apply. All right. Now we have created all the skills we need. One agent-based skill and 3 different prompt-based skill. Just to verify that we have all the information we need, select the first one, be on search settings. You should be able to see, you can just browse through this, make sure that we have ITSM Knowledge Management, Helix ITSM selected. Click through them. Looks awesome. Perfect. Go to prompts. Just make sure that we have starter prompts. Step up here. Let's see. Starter prompts. That doesn't need a start prompt, but let's have a look here, see if we have the agent. Yes, we do. All right, so that's a wrap. Skills, agents, tools, done. We're very close to the fun part. Just a couple of small steps we need to do. Now, step 3, our task here is to get everything that we have done into Helix ITSM. And to prepare Helix ITSM, we first need to start, we need to go into mid-tier to do a couple of things. So let's begin there. So I assume you have different ways of launching mid-tier. I typically do this. I go to Helix ITSM. I click on more, I scroll down, and I click on this one. In mid-tier, expand this menu, click on AR System Administration, click on AR System Administration Console, expand System, expand General, click on Centralized Configuration, expand this dropdown, find AR Sys Smart IT. This one. Click on the star. And here we have some entries that we just need to check that they are enabled. So if you scroll down in the list, I'm going to go to enable something, something. Here we are. Enable HelixGPT global chat. True. Make sure you have that. And scroll down a bit further. HelixGPT global search default mode. Chat. Make sure you have that. All right. Closing this out, and I'm just going to close this browser or this tab. We don't need mid-tier anymore. Now, all the skills that we have, we need to make sure that they are now can be used by Helix ITSM. To do that, we will go back to Innovation Studio. We will click on the application launcher, and we will launch something called ITSM application. See this? Let's click on it. If you get this message, we can just ignore that. We're going to go ahead and click on settings. We're going to click on HelixGPT configuration. And then again, we're going to click on HelixGPT configuration. And then we're going to click on GPT configuration. These are the different tasks that the Service Collaborator can do. And we need to make sure that when we give it instructions to do something, it uses the right kind of skill, right? We see we have a couple of skill IDs. So these are the ones that we need to replace with our own. Default, this will use the seeded records, right? So we go back to Agent Studio, click on visible columns, ID, expand this a little bit. And we're going to use our newly created skills and their IDs to do this. Let's start with agent in global context. So make sure you copy this one. Then we go back to ITSM application. Click on global chat. And just replace, right? And save. Skill ID is the only thing we need to change here. Okay. Go back to Agent Studio. Incident Agent Assist conversation, the one that you created. We grab that ID. Go back to ITSM application. And if we see now for configuration, we have two of them. So we need to input this skill ID on both ticket details and ticket work notes. Okay. If we see the default also uses the same skill for both, right? So we're going to do exactly the same, but with our own skill. So we'll go to open this up, place with our own ID, save, go to the next. Add our own ID or our own skill ID, click save, done, right? Go back to Agent Studio and grab the one for Agent Assist, Incident Agent Assist Resolution. Go back to the settings page. We see we have two resolutions as well. So same procedure, open it up, add our own skill ID, click save, on to the next, add our own skill ID, and we're done. One more left. Go back to Agent Studio, and we're going to grab the ID for our incident resolution generation. Grab that, go back to the skills, click on the link for a solution note. Now we only have one. Add our skill ID, click save. Done. All right. This concludes the configuration part of this session. Now I think it's time to take this for a spin and have a look at Service Collaborator in action. Right? So I'm just going to go ahead and keep this open for a while. Who knows? Maybe I've done some mistakes. But let's start here. So when we did the changes in mid-tier, a couple of things that we enabled. First of all, this one, right? The search, now AI thingy. If I click on that one, see that it defaults launches chat. I can still go back to search if I want to, but default, we have chat, okay? That's what we want. So from this agentic chat, I can say things like, I have a VPN issue. Pretty basic. And it should start to give me some suggestions, and I can see the sources here as well. A couple of knowledge articles, all good. Could probably do this from the search as well. Give me the same kind of result, but anyway. But remember what I was talking about, that agent-based skills can handle multi-turn conversations, right? So if I, and also remember it had 4 different kind of tools. So that tells me that this agent can do more than just answer questions about knowledge articles. It had a tool that called knowledge, but it also had others. So let's see what it can do. I'm going to start a new conversation now, and we're going to say something a little bit more interesting. If I do, let's say, what's the email for Seth? Seth is a colleague of mine. And it started to give me information. So this seems like this is tapping into some kind of, other information than just the knowledge base, right? If I go ahead and continue on this one and say like, What open incident are assigned to set? It will show me that as well. So this is an example where the agent uses multiple tools to provide us with data depending on what we ask it, right? We have both people data and we also have, of course, incident information. Still, quite simple prompts I'm using here. I'm going to go ahead and say a new topic. And we're going to do so let's say we have a scenario where a customer is calling in and asking about an incident. If that happens, I could use the agentic chat and ask, show me all open incidents for customer name Corey Cooper. And it should start to send me that information. And continue on this. I'm interested in the top one, ending with 314. So I can say, show me the team assigned to incident 314. Okay, so application team. Take this a bit further. Show me the members. Shows me all the members of the application team. I can go ahead and say, okay, draft an email. I want to know why this incident is still open. Actually, let's include incident URL. I guess that's something that we want to have. So let's fire away, see what happens. Draft me an email to application support team. I could also say, for each member, and I will see a list, all members and their email addresses. I could do that. But here I have the information. This is what is important to me. And of course, the incident details. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let's take this to the next level. So let's start a new conversation. And start with something simple. Please list all critical issues. All right, a couple of them. It's good. Now let's build on this and say, group these issues into common themes and provide a summary for each theme. Let's see. Looks good. Service Collaborator has grouped them together in themes. Okay. We're going to try to take this even further by saying, for each of these themes, please provide an overview of the work that have been done so far and propose an action plan for ongoing work. And send. This looks pretty good. I have my overview of the work done so far and proposed action plan, right? Not bad at all. So to wrap this up, I want to do this. Please provide a summary for executives on the current situation, the work done so far, and action plan for next step. Limit this to a few paragraphs. And I get some information that I can send to my managers. This is pretty great. I mean, think of a scenario where a manager or someone comes into service desk and have questions, say like, you have a lot of critical tickets open. You need to get your team investigating them and come back with a status report. So how long would it take to get someone to click through these tickets? Of course, depending on how many you have, right? I guess that's different. Uh, and then group them into themes and then write a report for each theme and include current status and planned next steps. I mean, this is a resource-heavy task. We're probably talking hours, maybe even days, depending on how much content you have to get this kind of information that, well, I just showed you Service Collaborator did this in, well, minutes, right? So when I was preparing for this workshop, I was using Copilot and I asked Copilot, what's the most time-consuming task in a service desk? And they came back and said like categorization of tickets and incident, triaging, blah, blah, blah. Things that we have done here in this little demo, right? So I'm very curious to know what you think of this. And is this a common is this a scenario that you recognize? Do you think Service Collaborator would be of help here, or you know, I don't know. You can't talk to me, so here we are. I think this is pretty great. This would save me a huge amount of time. Uh, can you also make coffee? Seems competent enough. No, don't understand it. Well, all jokes aside, good job, Service Collaborator. We're gonna move on. I have two more demo scenarios that I want to show you. I have to speed this up a little bit, but let's see. We're gonna find a suitable ticket here. Let's go ticket console, with dashboard as well, and find this one. So when we work in service desk, and I have some experience from working in service desk, I know that every second kind of counts when we're resolving incident, and this is where a service like Service Collaborator and Ask HelixGPT comes in. When I say Ask HelixGPT, I mean this tab over here, right? Ask HelixGPT here can deliver clear, brief to the point answers and surface the most relevant articles from your enterprise repositories. And I shouldn't say articles really, I should say information, because we doesn't necessarily have information that we need in our knowledge base. It might be elsewhere. And the information sources for HelixGPT could be SharePoint, could be somewhere else. So it's really what happens. We do this and I click this, let's see, show some information. This is clearly from our knowledge articles. I know because I wrote it. And we have the knowledge article here as well. That's fine. But if we have something a little bit more advanced than a VPN issue, we could see information from multiple sources, consolidated information. And that's the win here. I don't need to go out and look for this information myself. I use Ask HelixGPT, and Service Collaborator will pick and choose with the information it found and put together a consolidated answer. Give me the sources just to show me that I'm not making this up, right? That's the win. And I can use this information to share with the customer. I can use it in when I solve the ticket and so forth. Brilliant, right? Saves a lot of time. We can, of course, go ahead and we can do summarize incident tickets over here to get some nice summaries as such. Summarize activity logs. Well, for this incident, it looks pretty much the same, but we can also continue to have a conversation with the AI at this point. If we're not happy with this information, we can say, all right, so if it's not just, well, given this ticket, right, has to do with VPN. So if I want to add some more data, in this case, I asked it to also include something for setup, right? And now you can see I have multiple sources that talks about setup, right? Brilliant. Very handy to have when we work in Service Desk. The last thing I want to show you, another thing, resolution notes, right? And this also kind of brings me back to my own days in Service Desk. I kind of remember we were a bit sloppy when it came to writing the resolution notes. You know, when we closed or resolved the tickets, there were a lot of them ended up with done or talk to user or maybe just a dot, you know, as easy as possible. That's not a great behavior. That's not great. This information is quite important. I mean, might be shared with a customer, right? Then we need to make sure that the information is clear. And when we have Service Collaborator, and let's go ahead and change the status here to resolve, gives me this box and this little button here, Ask HelixGPT. So if I click that, it will grab all the information it has. It has a work log here and this and that, and it will bring me this nice resolution note, right? If you read through the resolution note, we can see that Liam here has been very good and documented everything, and you know, he talked to the customer and solved it. Issue is solved, right? And this is what's being described in this resolution note. So not only might this information be shared with a customer, this is also information that goes back into our AI models, improving future automation, knowledge articles, and agent assist features. So every well-written resolution note strengthens our AI, which in turn, you know, helps agents resolve future tickets faster and more accurately. So it's like a cycle here. This may seem like a small thing if we think of, you know, product footprint, but huge impact. Not only does it reduce the repetitive work that for us today, but it also builds better data for tomorrow. I really recommend using the automated resolution notes here with Service Collaborator. Folks, we have reached the end of these workshops. And before I hand over to Sam and the team, I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. I really hope you find this session to be both insightful and practical. If you have any questions or ideas, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to keep the conversation going. And I did mention the one-to-one workshops. We're happy to do those with you if you want help to configure this. Huge shout out to Sam and the team managing the Q&A. I don't know how many questions there's been today, but there's usually a good amount of questions. So thank you so much for joining today, and I look forward to seeing you in a future session.
Just to recap, and obviously, Eric, thank you for sharing everything today. And I will just quickly, I forgot to mention at the start, I will be sharing out the configuration guide. I know quite a few people often ask for it, but rather than trying to send it out mid session, I will send that out to everyone. We'll do that after with everything, with the recording and also the slides today. And then I've just got a couple of slides to go through before we get back to the Q&A, and we've got a few questions there at the moment. So roadshow wise, some of you may have got the opportunity to go out to New York. That was last week. We've now got Madrid and Frankfurt coming up next week. And I know a couple of our colleagues from customer success will be there, as well as our product managers. So we would love for you to come in person. Whilst doing digital work like this, it's easier to scale and speak to many of you all in one go. But we would love to see you in person at some of those events. And then we've also got the next slide, which is Gartner. Some of you may have seen it if you went certainly to the London Roadshow where I was myself. We love to get your feedback. It goes directly to Gartner. You'll see the link and the QR code here. We don't personally give the gift cards, but if you're successful and your feedback gets published, then you will get a gift card from Gartner. So if you do get a few minutes and you can fill that in, we would really appreciate it. We will also actually be sharing out our Forrester Wave, which BMC Helix have been successful with. That's actually coming up for our next webinar. If any of you are going to be joining later, we will be showcasing Vodafone in the next hour. We will be running a session as well. So just a bit of a plug if you want to come to that webinar later. Okay, and then the final slide, which is our CTA slide. Just a reminder, if you haven't already seen or you haven't gone to any of our other workshops before, we've got two areas in community. So the first one you'll see in the blue, which is the upcoming calendar. If you haven't signed up for other sessions, the link that you used to sign up for today, if you go back on there, which you'll see it on that upcoming calendar, you can actually pick and select other sessions as well. And then we also have the workshop group, which I'd highly recommend that you follow. Anything that gets posted from all of our webinars and workshops get posted in there, and also the Q&A. So if you do have any questions, rather than asking you to send an email to a DL for the team, we're asking you to put your questions in there so we can make sure it's real time. Everyone can see those comments and questions, and it will help everyone else. So if you do have any questions outside of today and what you're sharing with us, we will be taking questions there as well. Okay, and I think that's it as far as slides go, Eric. Really, let's go into the Q&A. Thank you for getting to that final slide. It's been very busy for the team, which is great. We do have a couple of questions in there. So what I'm going to do is just read the first question from Radhika, and I'm just also going to unmute Radhika, and I'm going to start unmuting the rest of the customers so they can speak to us. So Radhika, you had two questions actually. Your first one was around Service Collaborator AI agent, where you were asking about, can we also query and ask for resolution insights on a work order, change, problem, task tickets, and saying that the GPT configuration in your instance is having only 6 records, 5 are incident, 1 is global chat, and nothing from ITSM applications. So I don't know if you can hear us, because sometimes people struggle with audio.
No, it's fine. I can hear it. I am
Okay.
just trying to confirm my understanding is that yes, it's possible, but I want to confirm that answer. That's the reason I haven't responded. But yes, I will confirm and get back to the user.
Okay, and Radhika, I don't know if you wanted to answer any, ask any questions if you can hear us, because I can see you've come off mute. Can you hear us? If not, Veronica, I don't. If you want to answer those questions, and if there's anything further, I guess because Radhika can't speak for some reason, the audio is not working. If you can just ask for further ones in the Q&A, that would be great.
Yes, and the next one is for the HelixGPT that generates the resolution notes really coming from Service Collaborator agent. No, I think the answer is yes, if not mistaken, but we can also validate internally. And all other answers have been, all other questions have been answered already.
Yes.
And many people is asking if we are going to share the questions and the recording. So the answer is yes.
Which is what I was just saying before. Everything that we've done today, including the slides, the recording, will all get shared, and then we will curate all of the Q&A together. And if you have missed the other sessions but you want to see the Q&A, they're all in one place, which is in the workshops group in community. So yes, 100%.